almost $2 million in a smear campaign to get this win. They should never have to spend money on a ruby red district.
That was the Democrat who did not prevail last night, but again, a 24-point swing. Tim, I know there's a lot of sort of political press around the MAGA money machine, but you have to be able to deploy the money competently and strategically. Yeah. And I wonder what you make of the money situation right now. Yeah, two thoughts on this. One, the Republicans are going to have more money this midterm, I think, for the first time in a decade or two. Maybe Mayor Landrieu might be better on that on when the last time this was. But the Democrats have actually been better at fundraising since Obama. And so that is something the Democrats are going to have to contend with. Donald Trump, if you go back to last year, what was he doing this time last year? Shaking people down, like shaking down CEOs, shaking down the richest people in the world. Yeah, they were funding his ballroom. Yeah, he's still doing that. But like that was what he was doing really effectively when he first came in. I said you just have to like recall, like right now he's kind of flailing. When he first came in, he was super effective at getting rich people to, do favors for them in exchange for getting a bag for his super PACs. So they're going to have a ton of money. Here's the problem though. Like advertising, you need to be able to have something to sell. If the dogs won't eat the dog food is the old phrase in advertising, it doesn't do you any good. And right now, if people are experiencing real pain economically, and if people are looking at him and thinking this guy doesn't have his eye on the ball at all, and I don't feel like my concerns or grievances or needs are being met, they can run all the ads they want. And it's not going to work. So what they can do is go into these red districts, some of those states I was talking about in the last segment, and save ground, right? Go into Iowa and smear the Democratic candidate and try to get their number down with Republican voters. And they'll probably be able to use their money to do that relatively effectively. And that's what Democrats have to combat. So just one other thing on this I just do want to say. A lot of times when we talk optimistic about Democrats, I know all you all have heard this from people. It's like, well, they're going to cheat anyway. You do hear this. Like, they're going to cheat anyway. They're going to try to rig it anyway. So who cares about the midterms? Democracy, when Trump won, is lost. And I just want to point out that, like, don't you think that they wanted to cheat in Wisconsin last night? Like, don't you think that they wanted to cheat in all these special House elections that they've had recently? Like, it's easier said than done. And the Republicans are trying. They tried to do it with the redistricting and it failed. They're going to try to do it with the mail-in ballots and the challenging. We need to be vigilant. You have Mark Elias on here every week talking about this. There are good people out there making sure that we're being vigilant and fighting this. But I do think it's also important to just talk about the reality here, which is that they might try to use their money and they might try to cheat. But, sometimes reality is more powerful than their misinformation campaign and their efforts to jerry-rig what's going to happen in the midterms. I mean, Tim, it's a really important point because it is one of the tactics they deploy with some success from the autocrats' toolbook to make the pro-democracy side think that it's fruitless, it's cheap. That actually costs nothing, right? So every public statement Trump makes, every time he burps out something about the SAVE Act or cutting off midterm voting or sending troops, that's free. Trump doesn't ever have a message, so he's not distracting from anything else. And it creates anxiety in the pro-democracy coalition. And if one person decides to, run a different errand instead of waiting an extra hour to vote, that tactic succeeds. I think combating that political tactic is as important as any other political mission in the next 6 months. Totally. They want us to be tied.